Hi there and welcome back to MassiveSynth.com tutorials. This is part 2 in the dubstep growl feature we've been doing this month, making sort of dubstep growls, pitch modulation leads with inside Native Instruments Massive. And in this tutorial we're going to make a sequenced lead for use in a growl track. So this is the sound we're going to be making. It's got a little bit of a growl on it. It's also actually got a kind of sequence program with inside Massive. I was just holding down one key there for that riff, and I was also going to show you also how we kind of put this sound to use and kind of built a kind of dubstep loop with it. By exporting that loop and chopping up the audio and stuff. So let's start off here by creating a new sound with inside Massive and program the oscillators. So for oscillator 1 we're going to have an M-torque oscillator, modern torquing, and we're going to keep the wavetable position all the way to the right. Intensity can stay on full, can stay as spectrum, amp on full. So route the oscillator to filter 1, we're just going to be using filter 1 for this sound, and let's take the pitch down by 1 octave. Turn on oscillator 2. Keep it as a square saw, keep it all the way to the right so we're getting a sawtooth wave, and going to make this a Formant and keep the intensity here on full, and then we're going to modulate this intensity to get that nice sweep. Turn the amp down a little bit, so maybe about 3/4 of the way up, and again we can just route this to filter 1 and take it down, take the pitch down by 1 octave. Turn on oscillator 3. Can stay as a square saw again, wavetable position all the way to the right, intensity on full, amp bring down a little bit, and can stay in spectrum as well, and the pitch can stay at 0 and route to filter 1. So that's the basic sound we've got so far. So let's go over to the filter section. Gonna use a bandpass filter for this sound. Keep the cutoff where it is, maybe just move it up a tiny amount. Bandwidth can stay in the middle, the resonance can just push up slightly. And we're just going to get a bit of movement on that cutoff frequency there, so we're getting this bandpass sweep. We're going to use an envelope to do that. So let's move down to, let's set up this envelope now then, and then we can go ahead and set up the effects and program the rest of the sound. So let's get that movement in the sound then. So for envelope 1, let's drag the crosshair of this to the cutoff frequency of filter 1 and click and drag up. So I'm now going to be modulating this cutoff frequency with this envelope here. And we want a kind of slow sort of sweep, so let's back that attack right off. And we're getting that nice kind of bandpass sweep now. Pull the decay down a little bit, push the sustain right up. And let's check this trigger 0 reset box as well, just so that that envelope re-triggers with each new key that we press. So next up we can put some reverb in the sound. Let's pull the dry wet down to just before 1/4 of the way up. We want quite a dry reverb really. Size can stay at halfway, density and colour can stay at halfway. Maybe just pull the size down a little bit actually. Next we could put in a delay synced. Pull the dry wet down to around just before 1/4 of the way up. Push the damp up. Get the feedback around halfway. Left channel 4/16, right channel 4/16 can stay the same. So just the reverb and delay, just giving the sound a bit of space, you know, just a little bit of a tail on there as well. Just making it sound a little bit more dramatic as well. Next up on the EQ, just push the high shelf up a bit. Just get a bit more top end on that sound. And now let's move over to the oscillator section. Get rid of that vibrato as it was. And let's set our own vibrato here. Just push the depth up to around 1/4 of the way and push the rate up slightly. So that vibrato is just giving a nice little wobble on the pitch really, just kind of thickens the sound a little bit as well. Next, the voicing section, just give it 2 voices, monophonic, and let's turn the pan position on and pan out those voices quite wide, so we've got it all the way to fully inverted here. We want to take that glide off now. Okay, next we can look at this amp envelope and just pull that attack down, so nice sharp attack on the sound. And now we can set up this first LFO. And what we're going to do with this LFO is going to modulate the intensity of this Formant here, as we showed looking at earlier. Get quite a cool sound when this moves around in this M-torque wavetable position. Gives us kind of like a talking sort of effect, really, moving that wavetable position there. So I wanted that to happen automatically, so I'm going to use an LFO to do that. So drag the crosshair of this first LFO to the wavetable position of the first oscillator. Click and drag down, so it's going all the way around like that, that green bar, and do the same thing on the intensity of oscillator 2. It's a little bit too quick, really, that, so I'm going to sync this, take the ratio 1/1. I'm going to make the shape of the LFO a sawtooth like that. We've got quite a nice sort of sequence. Almost like a vowel type sound going on there with the Formant shift and that M-torque kind of wavetable position shift. So the last thing to set with the sound now is this oscillator 3, turning this into a kind of a riff that's independent of these other 2 oscillators, and I'm going to use a stepper to do that. So go to this second LFO slot, make that a stepper, sync the stepper, put the ratio 1/4, click and drag the crosshair of this stepper to the pitch of oscillator 3, click and drag up so it's modulating at +12, and let's set some values in here, and if we click that snap to grid we'll get automatic snap on the values here. So what we can do is dial in a riff here, so on step 5 we can go +2, step 6 +3, step 7 +5, and then step 8 +7, so we get something like this now. And then what I wanted to do for the sustain section, this second half of this riff, to hold that note on the +7 semitones, so just click and drag along there like that. So now we've got that sound, just by holding down one note on the keyboard I've got that sound, which is quite a cool sort of vowel movement on there, and a nice little sequence riff as well. And then what I used for that was I bounced it down to audio, and then for this section here chopped it up, so we had I've also got some sidechain compression on this audio and a little bit of bust reverb as well, just to add a bit more space, but that's the general idea going there. So you have the sequence lead riff with Inside Massive, a little bit of kind of vowel movement on there, and also demonstrating how we can use that in a track. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Any questions, then please get in touch. And thanks for watching. Hope to see you again soon. Cheers. Bye.